If you're living in the Midwest, down south, or pretty much anywhere in the country, right now is not the time to be messing around with your dog's temperature. I'm talking about heat stroke or your dog literally becoming sterile because of the heat or having other health issues going on because of the heat. It's real, it's happening. Unfortunately, I'm here in Texas, or better yet, fortunately, I'm in Texas, but unfortunately, I'm in Texas during the summertime and I get texts on a weekly basis, unfortunately, during the summertime, that people are losing their pets. So tonight, we're actually going to make more awareness as to what you need to be looking at as far as your dog overheating, and hopefully we could sidestep many deaths or many bad situations for your dog. Straight up, real quick, we got Shamrock Bully. What's going on, man? Number love, man. We got Inserata like always. Good evening, Inserata. All right, Peter King Bullies. Good evening, QBM fam. What is going on, man? So yeah, we're talking about heat and heat stroke. Several years ago, I had a dog have a heat stroke. My boy Power, man, he rest in peace. And let me tell you, it's not a funny thing. A dog being in an environment with the temperature above 85 degrees can overheat and go straight into heat stroke within 5 minutes, all depending, right? Various circumstances. Are they out in the sun? What color is the dog? Is it long fur or is it short fur? If you have a long fur dog, I'm letting you know right now, if you're bringing them out to the heat, you got to be on top of them, whether they're short haired or long haired, either way. But if you're bringing them out to the heat, I would be extra cautious, especially if they're brachiocephalic. And that means if they got that little squishy nose pushed in. Now, I want to make this statement before we continue because I made various slides and I realized in the slides what's going on, Adam Fields. We got Transport King 1988. Good evening. What's up, man? Number love. 102 in Texas today. It actually hit 103 here in my house. It was just for a moment, but either way, it just tells you how hot it was. We got TJT603. What's up, fam? Number love, man. So I made a couple of slides, and one of the things I saw on the slides that I didn't like was the fact that it's telling you to put cool water on your dog. Now, don't get me wrong. That is the correct step. But when you say cool water, people immediately interpret it as or remember it as ice water. You do not want to pour ice water on a dog that has gone into a heat stroke or is needing to be cooled off. And I'll tell you why here in a moment. We got Georgetown Bullies. What's going on, man? Number love. Thanks for stopping by. Nadie's. What's good, fam? And you kind of stop there. So listen, I'm going to bring up the first slide. And this is the first thing you need to be looking at. If your dog all of a sudden starts walking behind you, so you have a dog that runs through the doors in front of you, doesn't respect you like an owner. We'll get into that in some other video. That's not what this is about. But my whole point is this dog is usually in front of you, and all of a sudden it starts to lag behind. Now, you got to realize dogs can't talk, man. They can't. So these little subtle signs is how they're communicating, right? And, you as the owner, you have to be on top of these things because that could be one of the first signs that your dog is already getting into trouble. As you can see here, it says a dog that suddenly lags, stops, or searches for shade may be struggling to cool. Well, if a dog is starting to lag and is searching for shade, that right there should be telling you right off the bat that the dog's trying to cool off. Quick fix, you need to stop the walk, move to the shade or AC, offer water, and let the dog cool down. Right? Let the dog cool down. Now, real quick, let me just say this. If you're going to be putting water on the dog, make sure you're putting it down where their sweat glands at, by their paws. That's how dogs cool off, right? Just like pigs, they don't have the ability to sweat throughout their body. So they have sweat glands, right? Down here by their paws. That's where they're going to mainly cool off at. That's mainly where you want to be putting the cool water at. Real quick, let me go to some comments. We got 11 Bravo Kennels. Good evening, Bully fan. The heat is no joke for the dogs. It is not. It can cause so many different things. I can tell you as a breeder here in Texas, for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, during the summertime, it is the hardest time to get your females pregnant. And that has mainly to do with heat shock. It's alive and well. And it doesn't only affect the female, it affects the males. How does it affect the males? I'm going to tell you. Males have their testicles outside of their body for a reason, because the testicles actually need to be a little bit more cooler than the rest of the body so the sperm doesn't die. But what happens when you got 105 or 103 or 102 or 100 plus weather and your dog is laying down on a slab of concrete that is absorbing this type of temperature? Well, you guessed it. His testicles are becoming hotter than they need to be, and those sperms are pretty much not going to make it. That's pretty much how it works, man. Nadie's live and direct. You know it, man. We got Enserata. It was 113 yesterday here in Phoenix. Listen, Enserata, honestly, then again, where I live at is humid. Enserata lives in Phoenix, Arizona. But over here, when it's 103 like it was today, I really didn't know what the heck to do with myself walking out there. I had to run back in the house. At 113, I really wouldn't know what to do, man. Wes, good boy, my boy. There you go. Sorry about the intro, says Nadie's. No worries. I watched the shape of the tongue. If it's curled up, we're going to get into that, man. I like the fact you brought up the shape of the tongue. That's really important. Transporting King, the older I get, the more I hate the heat. I will be 60 in August. Man, I guess I'm in the same boat with you, except I'm not 60 yet. Good evening, y'all, says Miss Shay Tree. Welcome on board, Miss Shay. And we got Shamrock currently struggling to keep mine cool with 100 plus temps in South Bama right now. We're going to talk about this. So let me bring up the next slide, man. If you have a dog that's refusing to play, right, that's an early heat stress sign, right? What it means is when an active dog suddenly refuses to keep playing or exercising, the body may already be overheating. Sorry about that. Quick fix: end the activity, rest in shade or AC, offer water, do not push one more lap or one more throw. If you have a dog that loves to play, loves to run around, and all of a sudden they're not wanting to do it or they're sluggish about it, don't push them, especially not in this heat. Slide 3. We have searching for cold places. Now, all my dogs do this. I can tell you that today. When I let them out, they were doing it. Now, mind you, in the summertime, I don't let my dogs out when it's 103 out. Okay, I'm talking about I let them out early in the morning. I make the effort. I wake up at 7 in the morning, get out there, let them out. And then if not, for whatever reason, they weren't let out in the morning, they're going to have to wait until late evening. Either way, if they went out in the morning, they're still going out in late evening. But my whole point is they're not going to be going out in the middle of the day. Why? Because obviously they're needing to cool. You let them out in the middle of the day, they're going to have a hard time doing it. I let them out. It's only 82 degrees in the morning, and they're still trying to find cool places. What it means, lying on tile, vents, dirt, or shade is often the dog's way of trying to lower the body temperature. Quick fix: bring the dog indoors, add airflow, and give fresh water and a cool place to rest. Watch early, act fast, keep them cool. We go straight to the comments. We got no reply. Hi, my doggie has lumps under her tongue. She hasn't stopped eating or drinking water. But why is that? We're talking about heat. If your dog has something going on with heat, that's what we need to be talking about. Nadine says, yeah, but if we cool off the paws, we still have to dry them off so that the paws don't retain the moisture between the toes. This is correct, Nadine. But if your dog is going into giving you signs that it's going into a heat problem, drying the paws is going to be the least of your worries. All right. You're going to want some cool water. Let me make sure I drill this in, because if you notice at the very bottom, it says, do not use ice cold water. You're going to pour cool water, for example, tap water from a hose. Make sure it's not steaming hot in the summer, right? Let it run for however many seconds until it becomes cool. And then you're able to pour it on your dog. Use a fan or AC, right? Because moving air is what's key. and then begin emergency transportation or call a vet. All right. Now, you don't, in this particular scenario, if the dog is seeking a cool area, you don't need to be calling a vet yet, but always use your common sense. Your dog's breathing funny or gums are turning purple. That's an emergency. All right. Next slide we got is panting. Now, when dogs run around, they're going to pant. That's how they cool, right? But an early heat stress sign is panting after activity, is normal, but panting that stays hard and fast after rest can signal heat stress. Quick fix, wet the body with cool water, use a fan or AC, and call a vet if the panting stays intense. Okay, so again, guys, just do yourself a favor so you don't run into these types of problems. If it's above 82 degrees outside, don't go get your RC car and have the dog chase it. Don't go get your ball and start throwing it and have the dog run up and down. This is the fastest way that you can lead your dog into these types of serious effects. Let me go to the comments here real quick. We have Transportation King. I hate it when homeless people are standing out in the hot weather with dogs and a sign. For most of them, it's just a prop. I don't know if it's a prop or not. Transportation King, I got to tell you, I'm a nurse. I've worked as a nurse, for over 14 years. I can tell you a lot of homeless people, not all of them, but a good amount of them have mental issues. And to say that it's just a prop, it's just not fair. But I get where you're coming from. For them to be standing out there with the dog next to them, you feel for the dog. So I get that. Nadine says, I don't take my pups out in the yard when the heat index is such that I can't be out. I keep them and make accommodations. You got it. You got it. Now, I will tell you, I do let my dogs out in the middle of 103 temperature to go relieve themselves because under the shaded area, it's lower than 103. Plus, they're in air conditioning, whether they're in the kennel area or here in the home. Now, it's funny how dogs adapt. They're like children. They go outside, do their thing, and shoot right back in. They're not playing around with the heat, and I kind of like it that way. It's Raul says my dogs are in the house, but I let them out several times a day, like 5 to 6 a.m., then 2, then 6, and then later at night. And that's fair. I hate it. Okay, we just spoke about that. Sorry, I clicked on that. Let me go to the next slide here real quick. Somebody was talking about the tongue shape. This is really important. Wide tongue, heavy drool. Okay, early heat stress sign. What it means, a tongue hanging farther out with thick drool can mean the cooling system is under heavy strain. All right, your dog is not just panting at this point. Your dog is feeling the effects of the heat way more than they need to. Quick fix, stop activity, begin cooling, and watch closely for weakness, vomiting, or trouble breathing, especially when you have a brachiocephalic breed, such as the French Bulldog. I can't say this enough. Do not use ice cold water. So if you're just tuning in, please do not use ice cold water. Cool tap water is good. And then you want to put them either in air conditioning or a fan. And if the emergency is such, then you begin the transport. The next one is restlessness, right? And the dog just can't get comfortable. What it means is pacing, whining, and changing positions over and over can be an early sign of overheating. Move to a cool and quiet area and start the cooling instead of waiting for the dog to settle on its own. I've had many people tell me that they go out for a walk, whether they live near a mountain, say in California, and they go out for a walk in the middle of summer with their dog. Like, are you not using common sense? I get it. You may have water for the dog. Hell, you might even have an ice pack for the dog. But the mere fact that you're having the dog go out there in that type of weather, maybe going up a mountain, it's just telling you there's a lack of common sense. Especially if your dog's like a German Shepherd, that's like wearing a fur coat in the middle of 100-degree weather. And I don't care if your dog is short-haired or long-haired. Bringing them outside, doing that type of strenuous exercise in the middle of heat or the middle of summer It is the fastest recipe for a problem. Next slide tells you slow response or confusion. Now, unfortunately, I got to tell you guys, I saw this with my boy Power several years ago when he had the stroke. And, it says here, if your dog seems disoriented, ignores commands, or responds slowly, heat may be affecting the brain. Quick fix, start the cooling right away and head to an emergency vet. In my boy Power's case, and I have a video showing it, unfortunately, I had a female, she must have been in heat or coming out of heat. I can't recall exactly. I could tell you he was trying to hump her. And he was a dark colored fur dog, so he was attracting more heat than normal. Next thing you know, I started noticing he started becoming sluggish and a bit disoriented, and then he passed out. Luckily, I went ahead and used the cool water from the tap. Literally within 5 seconds, he was able to stand up. As soon as he stood up, I went ahead and put him in a kennel with a fan blowing right on him, and I did nothing but spray the hose on him. You don't want to use ice water on your dogs, guys. All right. Next one up is vomiting or diarrhea. What it means, right? So the dog is trying to get rid of heat. That's what that means. That's why it's vomiting or having diarrhea. It's trying to get rid of whatever's warm in the body, whatever liquid that is warm in the body that it can get rid of so it can cool faster. That's what's happening. So vomiting or diarrhea in extreme heat is not just a stomach issue. It can be part of heat illness. Quick fix, cool the dog. Do not force food and contact a vet, especially if there is blood or weakness. Now, for those of you that own a French Bulldog, I heard this about 3 days ago from our little French Bulldog that we have here. She was playing outside with one of our strays that loves to run, and I was very concerned. And it's exactly this: noisy or difficulty breathing. What it means: snorting, wheezing, belly breathing. Belly breathing is a major key. Or blue or pale gums. Well, if you're seeing blue or pale gums, at that point, what that's telling you is there's no oxygen basically getting to the head area. So that's definitely an emergency, right? Quick fix, wet the dog, move air across the body, and seek emergency care immediately. All right. So again, guys, no ice water, just cool water, then move them to the AC, have a fan hitting on them, full blast, and then begin an emergency transport. Lastly, if the dog has weakness or collapses, and unfortunately I got to presence this myself, what it means is stumbling, severe weakness, collapse, or seizures mean the heat emergency is already severe. Quick fix, wet the dog, move the air, call the vet, start cooling while arranging emergency transportation. Lastly, guys, I'm going to show this one last time so you can screenshot, send it to a friend, do whatever you want with it, but make sure that you stress that you do not put ice water on a dog, because ice water may cause vasoconstriction, okay? The blood vessels, right? When there's warm water, they're going to vasodilate and allow for blood to come through and lower pressures. But if you give ice water, what's going to happen is there's going to be vasoconstriction. So those blood vessels are going to become smaller. The diameter is going to become smaller, and it's going to raise the pressures, meaning now the heart has to work harder. This is why you don't want to hit them with that. Also, you don't want to put wet blankets on them, because the blankets are going to do nothing more than trap the heat in the dog. 5 comments. Let's go to them right now. Let's see. That would be a money-making business, selling dog houses with air conditioning. Honestly, guys, they sell them, and they're trying to, like anything else, they're trying to make a killing off of just one house. You can literally, nowadays, they have those small air conditioning units. You could buy at Home Depot. You could buy yourself an EcoFlow and buy yourself a couple of solar panels. And next thing you know, you have the air conditioning running throughout the summer, and it's not costing you any energy. Just throwing an idea out there. And AD says, but even when the pup's paws are walking on a hot surface, says Nadis. No, Nadis, no. I'm talking about when a dog, gets to this point right here, right? And you need to cool them off. I'm not talking about, leaving their paws wet and they're going to walk on a hot floor. Obviously, what that's going to do is promulgate it. And Sarata says, mine go out quick sometimes, then when it's hot and do their business, come right back to the door to come in. We run the sprinkler while they're out. Wow, I love that idea, Sarata. I was about to say that the one thing that I did start this week, and I didn't mention it, is we bought one of them little Mister fans. So whenever they go out, even if they're only going out for 5 minutes, we have the Mister fan full blast so they could get under it. But if you do have sprinklers, hey, and Sarata says she uses sprinklers, I think it's a great idea. I would just run the sprinklers for a good 2 or 3 minutes before you let them out, so the water that's being sprayed by the sprinkler is already cool. Nadine says, if it's too hot for humans, why in the world would I have my pups out there? I couldn't agree with you more. Some of the dogs enjoy playing under the sprinklers. They let me know how quick they want to come in generally. Yes, I agree with that. Shade Tree, I'm so thankful to learn this. I've not experienced heat like this with any of my dogs, and hope to not ever. It's such good to learn not to use ice. Yes, that's exactly it. If there's one thing you've learned is if you're seeing your dog go into a heat problem, use cool water, use moving air, whether it's air conditioning or a fan, and then transport to a vet if need be. If not, then, if it's not that severe, then whatever activity you were doing, whether it was playing with a ball, an RC car, running up a mountain, needs to be stopped, and you need to get the dog back indoors. Kyle, bringing you up, man. Bringing you up. All right. Kyle, that's all we got for tonight. I want you to start us off, bro.
It's your boy Hollywood Holland, your boy in the back of the queue. We're catching you on the next one. Boom.
Guys, real quick, my guy Money Mike is on vacations. He couldn't make it this week. He'll probably be here next week. I don't know if his vacation is going to extend to next week, but he was driving home. He couldn't get there in time. That's why it happened. I'm taking in one last question and we're out. I live in NYC, so what I do is I wet my backyard pavers down before I bring them to the backyard. There you go, guys. There's many ways to keep your dogs cooler. It's just a matter of being conscientious about it, and make sure you're not putting ice cold water on a dog that is in trouble or needs help because of the heat. Guys, we do this every Sunday at 8 p.c.st. It's been Raul from the Q, catching you on the next one.
We are going for a whole hour, straight dog talk and the song. Jump on in and speculate. Show up on time, don't be weak and late. We are community, so don't hate.